The analysis of the economic impact of a tariff is extremely similar to the analysis of an economic impact of consumption tax that you will have already seen probably in your introductory class to economics. What is a tariff on imports? It is just a wedge between the international price PW and the price effectively paid by consumers. So, in practice, a tariff is just a tax on imports which raises the price at which the consumers can buy the consumption good. As you might imagine, this will have two effects. On one hand, less consumers will be willing to buy the consumption good, reducing demand for imports. At the same time, more producers will now be efficient enough to produce the goods, leading to increased production and consequently lower imports. So the overall impact of the tariff will be to reduce imports of the good. In the pictures in this slide, imports indeed go from Q2 minus Q1, which was the original value under free trade, to Q3 minus Q4. Notice that tariffs generate revenues for the government. For each unit imported, the government collects the tariff. And so we assume that here the government is a benevolent entity that is going to use wisely those revenues and can either redistribute them to consumers or to producers. We abstract from what exactly the government will do with the revenues, but we assume that the government is not going to waste them. However, even with this benevolent government that doesn't waste any of the tariff revenues, when we compare utility with free trade to utility with a tariff, we notice that under free trade we would have been better off. The area of the triangles A and D simply got lost. This is known as deadweight loss and is due to two effects. On one hand, consumers have to buy the good at a higher price than the world price. On the other, there is a loss in efficiency because there are less efficient producers compared to the rest of the world that are now able and willing to produce the good. So again, the impact can be summarized as follows. We have C, which is the government revenues from the tariff. We have A, which is a gain in producer surplus after the tariff is imposed, but that also coincides with a loss in consumer surplus. So this is just a redistribution between consumers and producers. However, the loss by the consumers is even larger. The consumers lose also B, C, and D. As we said before, C is just government revenue. So that is just something that the government can take and redistribute back either to the consumers or to the producers without waste. But then we have B and D. B and D, as we said before, are our deadweight loss due to the fact that on one hand the consumers now have to purchase the good at a higher price, and on the other this is due to the fact that there are less efficient producers on the market compared to the situation of free trade.